Hi Aquarius, welcome to your November 2019 rune casting and tarot reading. I'm going to talk to you about what I saw in the runes first, and then we're going to flip the camera down and take a look at some oracle and tarot cards to try to get some more insight for you. So this was for Aquarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising signs, and I got kind of a big overarching message for you with kind of two parts. And so the first thing that hit me when I was looking at the rune casting was that you may be feeling stuck, specifically like in your head, regarding love or relationships. And I also got, and so as I have been interpreting, I'm taking notes to kind of keep my thoughts straight. And so then I also got that you may feel that understanding, clarity, and control are out of your reach at this point in time. So you're kind of struggling with, like a how-to, like, how do I think about this? How do I, I can't control this. There's something that you feel, I don't want to say helpless, right? Because it's not helpless. It's just like almost exasperated is maybe a better word for what I was kind of getting from this. And then I also wrote down that a sense of normalcy eludes you. So you may be feeling like you want to have, you want to have what you see other people around you having. And for whatever reasons, there are circumstances in your life, there are situations in your life, there are things, whatever, that are not allowing you to attain the things that you want, to have the normalcy that you want, whatever normal is for you, right? There's something that's like keeping you from achieving that, from having that. And there's a sense of like frustration about it, like a sense of stuckness about it, okay? So then related to that, I did get a slightly separate message, which is that you are also thinking about your finances and your home. And so your home, where you live, whatever that means for you, and how you might change those things, right? So a message about, and this is kind of more like in your head, more it's like that was kind of the first message I got, was that like you're in your head about stuff. And one of the things was this like relationship and like, how do I find this sense of normalcy, or like, how do I find this normalcy? And then the other piece to that was that you're also thinking about home and finances, and like, how do I shift that? How do I make this better for me? And then the last thing that I wrote down was that your desire to change is there, right? So like, you have the desire, you have the want. The challenge is now how to change. So that the how-to part is what's eluding you. So for me, that's kind of like a clear, let's look at that with the oracle and tarot cards. Let's kind of focus in on that piece. Like, how do you get this clarity? And so when I flip the camera down and we start looking at the cards, that's probably what I'm going to be focused on. I let my intuition guide me and I let the cards guide me, but that's probably where I'm going to start with your reading, okay? So hopefully we can get you some insight and some clarity to kind of help you get through this particular situation. So I'll see you in a minute with the cards. Hey Aquarius, I have been thinking about how I want to do your tarot reading tied to this, and what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of do two parts, and I'm going to see if I can get both parts to kind of fit on the screen. So I'm going to pull an oracle card. This is a magical spell card that I'm going to be using as an oracle deck for this series of videos, and I'm going to pull kind of two oracle cards, one to look at the overall energy surrounding this kind of stuck in your head with love and relationships, And then I'm going to pull another oracle card that has to do with the other piece that I saw in the rune casting, which was more around this desire to change. You know, what I picked up from the runes was like the desire to change around money and your home, but like this desire to change but not knowing how to go about it, right? And then we'll clarify both of those with some tarot, if that makes sense. All right, so let's see what we get here for Aquarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising. And get an overall energy for this love, relationship, something to do with love and relationships that they're feeling stuck about. What's the overall energy around that for Aquarius? So what came out here is peace. Bridget, goddess, in your sacred name, align within me peace's flame. So if you are having some kind of anxiety around like a love type of relationship, so that's kind of what I got from the runes, was this was more than just like a friendship or type of thing. I think it was specifically kind of calling out like a love relationship. If you're feeling stuck with a particular person, or if you're feeling stuck in general, like why can't I find love type of thing, the energy here is for you, and easier said than done, of course, but the surrounding energy here, I think this is more of a suggestion, is to make peace with it, with whatever is, right? And obviously easier said than done, and I'm having a hard time even saying that, because it's like I want to slap myself for even saying that, because if you're frustrated in a love situation, or you're not, if you want love and you're not finding it, and someone tells you, well, just find peace in it, right? You're gonna be like, you know, commence eye roll, right? But I have to trust the cards, right? I have to trust what the cards are telling me. And in this particular situation, I think, and of course we'll get some tarot too and see where that goes with it, but I think the suggestion here is to make peace with what is. So we'll see kind of where we go with that. All right. I want to see if I can. Let's see if we can make this work in this little window. All right. So I also do want to get an overall energy for this other piece, which is this desire to change that you have, and not being sure how to go about it. I'm not going to take that one. This desire to change for Aquarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising, and them not having this will and this desire, this want, and not being sure how to go about it. So what is the energy around that for Aquarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising? This change that they desire, that they're struggling with finding. Organization, purpose, planning, efficiency now come to me so easily. So, I mean, right off the bat, this for me is, are you clear, Aquarius, on what it is that you want? I mean, you want change, right? I mean, I saw that in the runes. You want change. You want things to be different. But are you clear on what it is exactly, right? So kind of manifesting 101 is to get crystal clear. And when those of us that have tried to manifest know, it sounds really easy. Oh, let's just get real clear on what I want. When you actually sit down to get clear, you realize very quickly that it is damn hard to get really clear on what it is that you want, right? And so I'm taking organization in this particular instance to mean that in order for you to attain and achieve these changes that you so desire, you are going to need to get clear. And once you're clear, then you can have a game plan, right? Which is also kind of tied to this. But without clarity, you can't have a plan. And without clarity, that the universe is not going to co-partner in creation with you, right? Because you're not sending clear messages. And so that's the suggestion here. And that sounds, you know, I'm being a bit of a Libra right now with my sword of truth, so to speak. But that's what I'm getting. It's kind of a really strong message. You know, it's almost kind of like you have to get organized and you have to get clear before you can achieve and attain the things that you want, right? And that's a little bit of tough love right there from Oracle, from this magical spell card deck and the Libra sword of truth. So, all right, let's look at some tarot. So I'm going to leave these kind of separated like this, and then I want to actually flesh them out with the tarot. I'm going to flesh them out separately. So let's first take a look at this this idea of making peace and accepting what is related to love and relationships. And there was also this sense of normalcy here that was possibly causing some kind of frustration. And I think that also ties in with making peace with what is Aquarius, you know? So what clarification can we get? Or clarification, or in this instance, validation. Let's see what we get from the tarot. For Aquarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising, related to this relationship or acceptance of what is. All right, the Hierophant, the Seven of Cups. You see that? Yeah. The Moon. All right, I'm gonna be me, because that's the only way I know how to be. And I'm just gonna be very direct as I do. And I am gonna pull a few more cards before we move to this other side. But right off the bat, I want to say that the cards here are suggesting to me that there is a lot kind of going on like under the surface for you, right? So possibly even like subconsciously. And I'm getting a really strong hit with this, that you would be very well served at this point in your life if you actually sought some kind of counseling, advice, therapy, mentorship, anything like that, okay? So there's a lot. I see this as a brain, like these are like thoughts. I see these as being thoughts that are just kind of cycling, and what's real and what's not real, and cycling kind of in and out of reality almost, is what I'm getting with this. And so, of course, you are not able to attain a level of peace. I mean, that must be very difficult if that is, in fact, what it is that you're having to deal with, is like these kind of cyclical patterns. And I've experienced this, and I know it's really tough when your brain is just kind of cycling on something. And then I'm also getting layered on top of that. I'm getting kind of layers here. I'm also getting layered on top of that there's sometimes some disillusionment or confusion with what is real and what is not real. And so the suggestion here is to seek some kind of counseling, or, like I said, mentorship, or anything like that, okay? So let's see if we can get a little bit more for Aquarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising related to this situation. see what this is. I'm gonna put it back in, the Ten of Cups. I think that's what you want. What else can we see about this situation for Aquarius? Sun, Moon, and Rising. Okey-doke. Six of Wands. Let's see if we can move this up a little bit. The Hanged Man. And the Ten of Pentacles. So Aquarius, I think this is an extension of that card that kind of flipped out that I put back in, which was the Ten of Cups. And so originally when we kind of started here, I had said from the Rune reading that I had seen this, you know, possibly being tied to love and relationships, right? And so, but I've been focused with the tarot, I've been focused on this kind of peace bit of it. And with these second series of cards, if we factor in the Ten of Cups that flipped out, what I'm seeing is that the Ten of Cups, the Six of Wands, and the Ten of Pentacles are really all speaking to this sense of like, that you do, and I think it's going to tie back to this piece too, that you want to have this. You want to have this sense of peace. You do want to kind of get all this stuff resolved. And then you do want to be successful, and you do want to be able to start moving towards some kind of legacy and having some kind of better stability in your life. But, and again, I think that's, this Hanged Man ties back to, I think, what we're going to end up finding here, which is this feeling of stuck, which I did also say in that first piece. Like, I think the first sentence I said with the Rune reading was like, you may be feeling stuck in your head type of thing with, you know, how do I do this, right? So what we got here from the tarot is more of like a validation, I think, of what we saw in the runes. And it's also suggesting to me, because there's such a strong tie with, I think, what we're going to get on this piece. I think I'm going to move here because this is clearly related, even though it's technically maybe, you know, separate topics, but it's still kind of, it's going to have one root, one kind of root cause, and maybe one overall, you know, solution to kind of start with. So I'm gonna scoot over here. Because I think we got some validation on this side. And hopefully with this peace card, a little bit of a suggestion that you can use and that you can roll with, Aquarius, okay? So let's take a look at this organization piece. So this had to do with this desire that you have to change and not being sure how to go about it, right? So kind of more stuckness, more Hanged Man, right? Like more, which is, you know, the other suggestion here, before I keep going, is, you know, the other obvious thing here with the Hanged Man is, you know, seeing things differently, trying things in a different way, which very much ties in with what we talked about here as well, especially if therapy or counseling isn't something that you've tried in the past. It may help to enlighten you and give you some new ideas on how you can best go about getting here and here, right? So let's take a look at what other advice, what other clarity can we give to Aquarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising, related to finding ways to change, to achieve the change that they want? How can Aquarius best go about this? How can they best achieve the changes that they need? The Page of Pentacles, the Three of Pentacles, the World, the Knight of Pentacles, the Four of Cups, and the Eight of Wands. Can you see all that? You can see, let's see what you can see. So I'm gonna scooch up a little bit, okay? And the Eight of Wands. So how can you best achieve this change that you want, Aquarius? I'm gonna put this on the side because I need to pull some more cards for this one because I think this was going in a slightly different way. And I'm gonna use it, but I wanna use it in a different, I'm not gonna use it with this group because I think we're gonna go here with this and try that in a minute. What I'm getting from this immediately is that you would be served very well if you were able to start collaborating with people. So essentially kind of doing things in a completely different way than you have ever done them before, starting a whole new cycle in your life, right? And so, and putting yourself on some kind of regimen or like schedule where you are deliberate, right? You're very deliberate in what it is that you're doing for yourself, with yourself, you know, like everything that you do has a purpose. And if we're wanting to manifest something, right? Because that's how we started this whole thing off, right? Like this idea of wanting to manifest something and not knowing how to go about it. You have to keep your eye on the prize, right? So like anytime I've tried to manifest something, A, if I didn't get clear on it, it didn't happen. B, even though it's a struggle, especially if it's a long-term kind of goal and a long-term thing, we have to keep our eye on the prize. And that's what is screaming at me here, which is like, keep focused, get yourself some kind of like, on Mondays, I'm gonna work on this piece of what I need to do. And on Tuesdays, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna take Wednesdays off and have lunch with my mom. On Thursdays, right, I'm being silly, but you see what I mean? It's kind of that type of idea. And this Three of Pentacles can tie back to collaborating with someone, a counselor, a therapist, somebody, to kind of help with this piece of things. This could also very easily be this idea of co-creating and manifesting with the universe that we talked about earlier, right? This is all tied together. This is all, I split this up, but I knew that it was tied together, and I did say that, right? I did say that these were related, but I wanted to look at them as separate pieces. But they 100% are connected, no question in my mind at all. Right? So any challenge that you're having with like love and relationships is tied to this thing, these things, whatever it is that you want to manifest, that you want to change, that you want to create, that you've had a hard time figuring out how to do that, and vice versa. The reason you're stuck here is the reason that you're stuck here, and the reason that you're stuck here is the reason that you're stuck here, if that makes sense, okay? Like, when one piece gets fixed, the other piece will start to fall in place, and vice versa, right? That's what these cards are screaming at me about, right? And a little reminder here, this card for me, especially in this situation, is like sometimes such a smart ass. That the tarot sometimes can be so smart assy, right? And I see this as being super smart ass right now, which is like, look, it's almost kind of like, look, brother, you have many options in front of you, and you have some pretty damn good ones that are kind of being laid out, and you are choosing not to act. You are choosing not to make different decisions for yourself. You are choosing not to come up with a game plan. So it's like, and again, this clearly is going to end up being a tough love reading. And of the readings that I've done for November so far, I can tell you by far this is the most tough love that I've given through the cards. So hopefully, Aquarius, you will understand the Libra sort of truth type of thing. But that's what these cards are screaming at me, you know? It's almost kind of like a biff upside the head type of thing, like, come on. And that's hard to hear sometimes. And I know it, and I understand, and people are going to be in different, you know, they're going to be going through different things, and they're going to be in different, you know, stages of their life, and sometimes things feel very overwhelming, especially when we don't know which way to turn. So I'm not trying to make you feel bad, Aquarius. I am not trying to give you a hard time. I am simply relaying the smart assery, if I'm being honest, that I'm getting from the cards. And I am getting some smart assery here, which is you need to come up with a game plan, and then you need to execute it diligently, right? If you want to co-create with the universe, if you want to build something for yourself, it has to be a diligent process. And you can't just keep like ignoring things when they come to you, and you can't just keep doing things in the same way, right? And I could go on, but I'm not. I think you've got the point, Aquarius. And I'm not lecturing you. I am relaying what I'm seeing in the cards, and it's a very strong message, and I get that. All right, so let's finish up with this 8. Let's see where this 8 wants to go. You know what? And I'm gonna use this to kind of clarify that 8, because we've pulled quite a few out here. So what clarification can we give to Aquarius for this 8 of Wands related to this overall reading? All right, the World card again. The King of Swords in reverse. And the Devil. So I'll kind of put them like this so you can see them. All right. Because I did not have reversals in this primary deck that I was using, I will tell you that after getting these clarifiers that this card is like, you can interpret this card as a reversal. And so this solution, the solutions, and I really do think there's going to end up being like one root solution for this for you, it's not something that's going to happen quickly. I mean, these cards scream that. The Page of Pentacles and the Knight of Pentacles are not fast movers, okay? They do things deliberately and diligently. So this is not something, Aquarius, that's going to get resolved like when you blink your eyes, or just because you say one day that you want it to change. That's the first step, right? But then there's diligent planning. You know, if you want to look at this like planting, literally planting it takes time, right? You have to till the field, and then you got to plant the seeds, and then you got to water the stuff, and you got to nurture it, and you got to grow it, and you have to, right? This is something that happens slowly and diligently. So what it is that you're trying to change, the thing that's been eluding you for how you can kind of find this sense of normalcy, whatever that means for you, how you can bring about this change that you want to bring about. The suggestion here is not going to happen quickly. You are going to need to change your perspective. You're going to need to change the way that you do things. And again, I'm going to tie this back here, which is a strong suggestion that you would be well served by co-creating with the universe, right? By working on some manifesting techniques. But of course, that requires getting really clear, which we talked about earlier is not an easy thing to do. And so if you haven't looked into manifesting techniques, maybe that's something to do, right? Also over here, you know, maybe look in, if you don't have a therapist, if you don't have a counselor, maybe look into that and see if they can help you get some clarity, and look at the situation differently, maybe help kind of stabilize what might be going on here, you know, in the mental space, okay? And yeah, and this King of Swords, I know I can't help it, but that, you know, that has to be you and how you're feeling. I mean, that's just a smack in the face. Like, yeah, we're talking about an Aquarius who is, you know, not feeling very confident right now. And there may be, Aquarius, this is something else to kind of think about, look at, maybe talk to a counselor or a therapist about, is, you know, what's kind of going on here, potentially in the realm of addiction. Or what's keeping, if it's not addiction, then what is keeping me tied into this energy that's not allowing me to kind of do this, right? What's keeping me here, right? So the devil energy and this energy for me are tied, right? And it's keeping you for kind of achieving this stuff that you want to achieve, right? This success and this legacy and being able to kind of plot a path forward, you know? Something's keeping you from that. And this is what's keeping you from that. And the devil is our ties to material things. It could very well be addictions, habits that we have. What habits do you have that are keeping you kind of stuck in this Four of Cups energy, that are not, that are kind of distracting you from putting a plan together and executing it, right? From putting together a plan to work with people, or from putting together a plan to kind of co-create and manifest something with the universe, right? Like, there is something keeping you from this. And, you know, it really doesn't, for me, it doesn't get more clear than this, Aquarius. There's something that's tying you down. And it could very well be some kind of substance, you know, that could very well be it with this. Otherwise, it's other obligations that you may need to cut the cords, right? There are other things that are keeping you from being able to focus on this, from being able to, you know, to kind of find this clarity. So maybe, Aquarius, a suggestion here is to kind of figure out what your devil is, right? It could be a lot, the things that keep us bound, the things that keep us chained, the things that keep us under some kind of obligation. Again, that could be chemical substances, that could be obligations that we have to other people, so on and so forth, right? Okay, so far, Aquarius, your reading is the longest reading. We're gonna get you one overall, you know, takeaway, animal spirit message, an advice message for Aquarius. This was a tough love reading, Aquarius, and I hope that you found it helpful. Some of this might have been hard to hear. I have to say what I see in the cards, okay? So what message can we give to Aquarius? What parting message, what healing advice can we give to Aquarius for this situation? What healing advice can we give to Aquarius? Dear Spirit, bring a gentle touch. Well, after this tough love reading, yeah, you need it, right? I was sorry about the quiet. I was just looking at the numbers here. I like to do that with the Oracle cards. So the first Oracle card we pulled was 9. I don't know if you can see that. And then 1 + 8 adds to 9. So for peace and bring a gentle touch. And then the organization card that we pulled later added to 6. So I can't help it, Aquarius. You know, I feel like there's a level of harshness that's happening, like that either is being imposed on you or that's physically happening to you. Perhaps you're not being very kind to your body, or to your mind, or to your whatever, right? So maybe you're putting a lot of pressure on yourself because of maybe the frustration that's happening here, you know, or maybe you are overdoing it with alcohol or other things. Maybe you're overdoing it physically, you know, that kind of idea. I really am tying this kind of back to here. And so, the suggestion here is kind of obvious when looked in contrast to this Devil card, which is to really come up with ways, right? Come up with plans and come up with ways to be better to yourself, right? Be kinder to yourself, like nurture your body, nurture your mind. Maybe that's the place to start, Aquarius, you know? And then, I would still encourage you based on this reading to, see if you can find somebody to talk to that you trust, a mentor, a counselor, a therapist, whatever. But the beginning stage could be to modify how you treat yourself physically, mentally, emotionally. All right, that's what I'm getting with this. I hope that you found that helpful, Aquarius. Again, I know that was some tough messages and some tough love. And I hope that some of that was helpful and healing for you, and that it has given you some places to explore and to try new things and to maybe resolve some of what is going on here for you, okay? All right, I hope to see you next time. Take care. Bye.